live, but on a different live stream that we were supposed to, but I think it's gonna be okay.
Okay, so the streaming link has changed, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna post it everywhere, so don't worry. Once it makes itself visible. But I think, I don't know.
We're not yet live. We're gonna be live in like 6 minutes. What is it? Mobile.
No, we're live right now.
All right. Okay. It's like the impact collective of that person. Okay.
I'm saying I'm gonna post on all our social media. By the way, hi everyone.
We have 5 more minutes, right?
Hi, do we have so the speakers are not yet here.
Really? Let me ask him.
By the way, hi Thomas. How are you? Hey, Jimin, we should be starting soon. We have 3 attendees here waiting. Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing okay. We are still waiting for our speaker. Hopefully,
I have just asked him, so just a little bit trouble with the internet, but he's joining. Don't worry.
gotcha. We will. Where is? Oh, actually, I think he's here.
Oh, really?
Let me promote him to a panelist. There you go.
Sure.
There you
Mm,
go. Sorry,
okay.
we were waiting in in another room. By the way, everyone, this is also going live on YouTube, so don't be too alarmed that there's maybe not that many people here. No worries, they're there, just in a different medium. So I'll be muting and signing myself off. I think we need a quick tech check and we can rock and roll.
Okay. So, okay, so I think we can just start right now.
Let me turn on my video.
Okay. Yeah, so hi, Mr. Nguyen, hi Vinh. First of all, let me express our sincere thanks for your participation as a guest speaker in today's seminar with the topic Clean Tech and Energy in Vietnam. And thank you all for joining this seminar today. So Impact Collective is a community-driven acceleration program for startups focusing on opportunities in Asia. So we invest, support, and connect startups that are solving global challenges to accelerate the positive impact in the world. Then to begin, so can you introduce about yourself for the audience here today, Vinh? Mm-hmm. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. So to start, can you just introduce yourself a little bit for all of the audience here today?
Sorry, I was a bit, my network is a bit lacking. So can you repeat your last sentence?
I mean that, so I have just introduced about the Impact Collective. So right now we would like to invite you to introduce a little bit about yourself for all the audiences joining today to know more about you.
Okay. So hi everyone. So a little bit introduce about myself, maybe a bit, but also about maybe what uh, uh, what I think about the market, and then we can start from there. So anyway, so I started joining clean energy about nearly 4 years ago. When at that time, it's 2017. Actually, there's no solar and there's no wind in Vietnam. Uh, it is like 0 megawatt of solar and maybe 50 megawatt of wind. And over the last 4 years, uh, now Vietnam has more than, I think at the moment, more than 5 gigawatt of solar and maybe 500 megawatt of wind. So there's a very, very strong growth for clean energy in the market. And also the company that I work for, which is Beam Energy, we also start from zero, and now we have about 500 megawatt in operation at the moment. So it is an extremely, potential growth for the market in Vietnam in clean energy.
Awesome. So as far as I know, you have graduated from the Stanford, right? So just a little bit curious, why did you decide to come back to Vietnam and to join the BIM group, the company that currently you are working for?
Yeah, so actually, the decision that I come back to Vietnam is it's not related to BIM Group actually, but I always want to go back actually to because I for my undergrad I study in Australia. So to be honest, if any country other than Vietnam, I would like to stay. Maybe not the US, maybe Australia. To be honest. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah. But anyway, I think the story why I enjoy BIM is actually so this current CEO is actually also a Stanford GSP, and we always want to do something together. So ineffectively, I and him we co-founded the Clean Energy Initiative for BIM Group. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, thank you. So Vietnam is currently a rising star for many, emerging sectors, especially for startup like e-commerce, fintech, adtech, and in the upcoming years, one of the sector that is predicted to be blooming is the clean energy and the clean tech. So, how to think about the potential of the market in Vietnam for the upcoming years, maybe from now on until 2 or 3 years ahead?
Well, I think the energy market in Vietnam is a very interesting market to watch. 4 years ago, this is all state-run. EVN owned everything, all the big generation, all the big power plant. For the last 4 years, it's shifting a lot actually. Now the private sector have developed a lot of capacity and a lot of investment in that field. Maybe more than maybe several $billion actually were in the energy market, and not only private corporation but also the foreign corporation as well. They invest a lot of money in energy. Uh, at the same time, I haven't seen a lot of startup actually in the real sense of startup. Mostly the company joining in this initiative is often quite a large, sizable company. Either it is a foreign entity or is a Vietnamese private company. Uh, and I think, but yeah, at the same time, I still think that this is only the beginning of the development of the market. Um, uh, right now, we invest intensively a lot on the generation side, a lot of like how to meet the demand for the market, for the growing market in Vietnam. We haven't touched really on the efficiency of the system, optimizing and things like that, which I would tend to think that the startup community will have a lot of interest in this area. Also, for the clean tech at the moment, it is more like investment. This is more like IPP, project development. Uh, in uh, but like what we always think, right? It is we need a platform, or we need like a ecosystem for clean energy, including like the production. For example, the production of the solar panel, how to increase the efficiency to, for example, and then all the supply chains and everything. At the moment in Vietnam, is mostly just like the project development, not a lot of things going on in the whole chain of the production. So that's what I think will be something that we will have to keep a close look in the next few years.
So according to you, what is the key driver to make a clean energy, like a solar energy or like a energy project to be successful? What is the key driver?
Well, I think for the last 4 years, I think the main driver is the demand from the economy in Vietnam growing really, really fast. GDP is increased by, like, except for this year, we're still growing positive this year, but like in general, I think the average is about 6% to 7%. And because of the Vietnamese economy is a lot more like China, for example, which have a lot of manufacturing. So the demand for energy is actually rising at a faster rate than the GDP. So 10% annually growth is required. And then, as you can see, the in a way, the hydropower plant is we don't have any more capacity left, and the finance for coal is can you cannot have any bank to finance it anymore. So you have to turn to solar, and you have to turn to wind, and that's why it has been growing really really fast for the last 4 or 5 years. So I would attribute a lot of that to the demand and the growth of the general economy. The second thing I think is the policy level for the past 3 or 4 years. The feed-in tariff for solar and wind is, I would not say it too high, but I think it's good enough to attract a lot of capital invested in that area. And I think also the other one is, I think also is the creativity of the private sector in Vietnam. It's also an important factor in this area, because when we first start, everyone tried to model solar after the development of solar in European company, meaning that it will be a small to medium solar project, like 5 megawatt, 10 megawatt, like 50 megawatt is very big. But actually in Vietnam, we build, like, for example, Vingroup, we build like 300, 400 megawatt of solar plant, which in a way from the European point of view is very, it's not feasible, because it's very simple. They have enough energy for their consumption already. So any more of solar and wind is just replacement of the previous coal. So it will be a very, very hard actually to replace them with like with something which is a little bit more expensive. But in Vietnam, it's actually the power to generate from the wind and solar at the moment is just meet the additional demand. We haven't actually touched the next step, which I think that we have to do, is to replace the coal-fired power plant actually. So I think that's the three main driver to the very, very fast growth in clean energy in Vietnam.
Hmm. So from the perspective of a customer, of the consumer, so what we care most is about the price. So in terms of the price, when we compare with the traditional way, then the solar energy, like electricity from the solar, is it, I mean, about the price, how can we compare this? And to commercialize this for the mass market, is it, you know, difficult to deploy a price that is reasonable for everyone that can be accessed to that source?
I think at the moment there's actually the cost of solar is actually the cheapest cost in terms of the electricity city price. For example, the solar price can be as low as 2 cents or 3 cents per kilowatt hour in some area of the world, which I think is for coal and gas, for example, it has to be more than 6 or 7 cents. The only problem with solar or wind is like the stability, meaning that in some day it will not wind. The wind cannot just blow, right? And you cannot have solar during the night, right? So if we factor if we only calculate the price of solar and wind, is actually lower than the traditional energy. So I think the main argument actually for fossil fuel at the moment is just reliability, and actually it's a backup for the wind and solar. In terms of price competitive, they cannot even compete to solar and wind. So that is the fact actually. At the same time, I think to your question, I think price is it's one of the concern, but I think at the same time, people now also aware of price is not everything. So it will be cheaper, maybe overall at this moment only in some countries to continue to operate coal or some other. But at the same time, I think climate change and everything now is real, right? Like some people can argue that it's not real, like China, for example, right, saying it's not real, but it's real, right? It's real. It change when you factor all the costs of that. I think in terms of cost, to be honest, I think solar is no brainer. Wind, yeah, maybe there's some environment costs related to that, but solar, I think for some part of the world is just no brainer to me actually. So the second thing I related to that question is actually when you think about it, right? When you, for example, like 100 years ago, right? You don't have car, right? You have bike, right? So if you have bike, right, then you only need a small road, right? The city need a very small road to go around, right? But then the car comes, right? The car is more expensive, right? And it need more infrastructure, right? But people, when once they use car, right? Maybe now in European, some would like to buy, right? But let's face it, right? People love car, right? People love advancement, right? So in a way, solar is of course, if you use solar and wind, you have to invest in the infrastructure, meaning the battery systems, the storage system, or other thing, right? But it is something that that the technological development. That's something that we would have to get there eventually. It is something that is substitution already. That's would be my point of view.
So regarding the electricity industry in Vietnam, so as far as I know that mostly, I mean, most of the usage of electricity in Vietnam are produced by EVN, which is a state-owned corporation. So when we develop the solar energy and all kind of clean energy, is it exist any kind of conflict between like the corporation with the government? Because right now, almost electricity and water industry are governed or are handled by the state-owned companies. So is it a big deal?
Well, yes and no. Meaning that if you like what I discussed earlier, about 10 years ago, EVN account for about 90% or 95% of the generation power in Vietnam. And then PVN, Petro Vietnam joined, and then the the big corporation, other state-owned companies join in. So I think at the moment, EVN generate about, I think the last number is around 60% of the total generation of the market. PVN and other state-owned company generate about 20 to 25%. And then the private sector, I think is contribute about 15%. I think now might be about 15% of the total output of the electricity. So already it's a big move already from EVN. So yes, in a way that they are a state-owned company, right? So they actually can limit you, right? They can limit you, and then that's one of the concern for foreign investors, whether if you compete against EVN or not. In reality, that's when the policy come in. That's why I already tell you about the fit for the solar and the fit for the wind. Fit meaning here fit in tariff, the fixed price that the government would pay for solar and wind through EVN. So that is that is when the government have to step in and make sure that you compete with EVN, but in a certain way, not not the most disadvantages to you actually. So that is the yes, and the no is back to my earlier discussion. I think the energy market in Vietnam is still growing really fast. So actually, EVN also need energy from uh, power plant. They cannot they cannot secure all of the demand at the moment. So that's why at the moment I don't see. I haven't seen a lot of conflict of interest because the demand is still there. The demand is definitely still there, and EVN had to, at the same time do that because they not only EVN not only control the generation side, but they also control the distribution side of the electricity. So distribution, is something that maybe in the future, I think this is also a very area when the startup might have a lot of big role to play in that sector.
So, well, also according to your earlier discussion that you told me that you haven't witnessed any kind of startup to jump in this industry. So, is there any kind of specific reason that why startup or small company cannot join this besides like the big capital pour in the infrastructure? I mean, any other reasons?
I think at the moment we haven't seen a lot of startup in the real sense of startup, meaning that you bring out some innovation to the process. I think partly because the capital required to invest is a lot actually. It's very it requires a lot of capital actually to invest it. And also and also the area that open now, like what I say, is more on the generation side. So I saw some startup for example, install the rooftop. I think that's one potential. I think in the market now there's quite a few companies, small and medium-sized company are doing that. I also see some people trying to build like a solar panel installation at a smaller size, not massive. Uh, I think it's very potential. I think it's very potential to continue to that trend. And I think other reason is that at the moment the 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 the, the side that EVN is opening is more on the generation side. They haven't do a lot of in terms of distribution and in terms of optimization, transmission. They haven't opened it to the private sector yet. So maybe that might be a challenge for startup as well. But at the same time, I do believe that production, and you have to create a value chain for the solar and wind industry in Vietnam in order to stay relevant. If you only buy all the equipment from China and use the local labor, I don't think it would be sustainable actually.
So when compare Vietnam to other countries in the relation like Philippines, Indonesia, and many other countries in the Southeast Asia. So how do you think about our, competitive advantages in terms of the clean energy, like a solar energy or wind energy?
Well, I think when we start out when I start out this venture, the biggest solar plant in Southeast Asia is like 150 megawatt in the Philippines. Vietnam need when we finish our project, this is already the largest one in Southeast Asia, and after we finish it, the record were broken like twice already. So the largest one now in Vietnam is 600 megawatt, which is huge, which is massive. I think it's bigger than any other European solar farm actually. So in terms of comparing and for your reference, like the largest market outside of China in 2019 for the solar panel is Vietnam actually. We are the second largest market for that year. So in terms of growth, I think there's a massive growth actually. In terms of the potential compared to other countries, I think for solar we have good potential for solar. For wind, yeah, yes and no. There's some area of Vietnam the wind is very strong and stable, but overall I think our competitive advantages might lie in the offshore wind, which is maybe the step for the next 5 to 10 years. But make it short. I think the potential for clean and energy in Vietnam is big, and I think already we are one of the leading nation in Asia in terms of wind and solar development, actually.
So for like a foreign companies who also be an energy company, so when they come to Vietnam, what do you think is the biggest challenges or barrier to enter this market domestically?
For foreign investor, I think they have certain advantages, and they have certain disadvantages. I think the first one is the permit process. I think the foreigner, of course, they can know a lot of the permit process in Vietnam. That's the first thing, and sometimes the process in Vietnam is it's not straightforward, meaning that they would have rule here and there. So you would know how to get around, to maneuver around actually. The second is because the nature of wind and solar is they require a lot of land actually, and land in Vietnam is not cheap, to be honest. We always think of Vietnam as a country which have a lot of undeveloped area, but in fact we are in terms of density, we have a lot of people actually, quite a small area. So land compensate for the land is a headache. So that is the challenge, and the law for land in Vietnam is very different. It's different compared to any other country. So it's very complicated actually. So I think that's the two concerns, that the disadvantages of the foreign investor. At the same time, I think they do have advantages. They have like a capital capacity, both equity and the ability to bring loans, cheap loans actually. And they also have what I would say like a little bit overrated, but yeah, the technical side. I think a lot of foreign investors, they think that they have a better sense in terms of technical, which I don't think, which from my point of view is debatable. I think Vietnam, we have quite a good people in the electricity industry actually. So I think normally the advantages and disadvantages of a foreign entity when they enter in Vietnam.
Okay, I will ask you a last question, because I realize that there are a lot of participants who want to ask you, many other questions. So I will give speech to others to handle the question session. However, the last question is that how do you know about any kind of policies or regulation of the government into this kind of sector?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I mean that is there any kind of a specific regulation or rules or for this sector, clean energy in Vietnam, from the government?
Well, I think the government in Vietnam is actually they realize they I think they listen, at least from my point of view. MOIT, which is Ministry of Industry and Trade, is the ministry who taking care of the energy at the moment. I think they quite open to international consultant, meaning that they have a program with the U.S. government. They have the program with the U.S. The German, the German. With the German government to assist Vietnam in drafting the policy for clean energy. So all of the feed-in tariff for wind and solar, I think it developed partly also because of the consultant of this foreign agency actually. So in terms of development, in terms of price structure, I think it will follow basically follow the world model, meaning that the first step would be when the solar and wind is at the low penetration, you have to introduce like FIT, which is a fixed price scheme to so that your finance people, right? So the finance people can actually assess all the risks and then go through with that. It will be easy. The next step will be the auction. The auction come when is like your previous question, when people start to concern about, yeah, if you subsidize all of the of that, then the price will increase to the customer. Then when that time when the auction will be introduced, and I think that the government in Vietnam right now is at the second stage of introducing the auction, how to do it efficiently. Of course, because of the regulation in Vietnam is quite different. So auction is quite challenging, but at the same time they are moving toward that, toward that direction, meaning that they will introduce more market force into that process. And I think the next step would be that when we will not realize on the subsidy from the government anymore. That would be my take. Of course, it will take time. I think for the last 3 years is a huge amount of growth in Vietnam. So maybe it will slow down a bit, maybe after the fifth next year for wind. But I don't think it will stop, because let's face it, we are still growing. GDP is still growing. A lot of people are talking about moving the factory from China to Vietnam. So energy, you need more energy. So you cannot stop.
Sure. Yeah. So to sum up, it is a very promising future, right? For the clean energy industry in Vietnam. Yeah, I think that's from my part, because personally I still want to ask a lot, but because other audiences they have their own question. So I will give my speech to Jimin. So she will handle the Q&A session and give the question from the audience to you. So please welcome her. Jimin, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Perfect.
Great. From now on, I think we can start with some of the people who are with us in Zoom. And maybe if you guys are watching from YouTube, there's a little bit of a time lag. So they would hear this at a later time, but feel free to ask questions there. I also have that one checking. I guess we can now start with a few questions from our attendees. Let me invite Thomas to talk. Thomas? Are you here? So I saw that you gave us some questions, but for the benefit of the people who don't have the insider knowledge as to what you wrote here, can you please give the question out now?
Sure. Thanks for bringing me into the conversation. So the nation of Vietnam, this is per the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, estimates Vietnam's average domestic water amount will half by 2025. And so the ministry has asked for development from the state water management to offer more private sector initiatives, as well as research on new technologies and water and sanitation systems. I'm just wondering, what have you heard about this, Vinh? And do you see any opportunity in Vietnam with this?
So water is not my cup of tea, to be honest. But I think as I see in Vietnam, I think the water, uh, and I might be wrong, to be honest, but I think the problem here is actually because a lot of the river system in Vietnam is actually from the Mekong Delta area, and it is actually starting from China and go all the way from Laos, Cambodia, and flow to Vietnam. And the fact that the Chinese build a lot of dam for hydropower, and also Laos build a lot of reservoir for the big hydro power plant. That's maybe one of the reason that the water supply in Vietnam actually will decrease. I'm not sure about the amount, but I think that might be the case. In terms of how to deal with it, I think it will be challenging because as you might know, Vietnam is still rely on the agriculture and require a lot of water supply for agriculture. So I think how to develop a better way of cultivate the agriculture product is very important actually. That's my take on that. But to be honest, I'm more on the electricity side actually. I know about the hydropower because I know about the river and stuff because I study the supply of the hydropower in Vietnam, and then and we already conclude that the water supply in Vietnam is we cannot have more hydropower anymore. So that's my choice. Thanks.
That's great insight thinking. That's my understanding as well from from the Harvard Journal and some other sources is China's diversion from the Mekong river system. It's going to put Vietnam and some other South Asian countries under some pressure. So it's good to hear your insight about the need for agriculture solutions as well as the water solutions. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So, Thomas, thank you for your stepping in and asking that question. If you are an attendee and you have questions, please you can chat it up and I will toss the question to Vin. For now, I think I had a just personal question on my end. I heard that it was just today when I was reviewing another company IR. But it was so interesting that Vietnam was actually one of the best countries in the Asian region, including East Asia, where you guys deal with clean tech and energy. Is there do why do you suppose that is the current like status? Do you have any insight and could you share some of that with us?
Yeah, I think it's go back a little bit to my previous discussion. I think 3.5 years ago when we start to do clean tech in Vietnam, we have zero capacity of solar and maybe 200 or maybe 50 megawatt of wind. Everyone is talking about building the next coal power plant imported from China. Everyone is talking about that. But yeah, I mean, right now, when you look back, uh, starting from now, we have the biggest solar plant in Southeast Asia, 600 megawatt. We have more than 5 gigawatt of solar and wind, which is about 10% of the overall capacity in Vietnam. So look, so I think the I think it's a perfect storm actually in terms of how we get there. I think like what I discussed earlier with Vietnam. I think the first one is the demand. the demand from the GDP growth in Vietnam has been, I think, quite high for the last 4 or 5 years. So we need more energy actually. And I don't know whether it's good or not. I mean, bad or good to have to have the energy demand grow that quickly. I think in a way it might not be that good, to be honest. You have to be more efficient actually. But in terms of the opportunity, it's actually an opportunity. So people keep on asking for more energy. So it will be easier. And in Vietnam, the infrastructure there is that you have a lot of hydro, you have a lot of coal, but then you hit the limit already, so you cannot have them anymore. So when you have a rising demand, and then the other sources cannot supply, then you have to look at solar and wind. That is not like about clean anymore. That is about like whether you meet the demand or not. Like the conversation I had with EVN, they feel very thankful that in 2019, about 3 or 4 gigawatt of solar were in operation, because in their plan, in EVN plan, they have about 2 or 3 coal-fired power plant which were delayed for like 3 years or something, and then I think at this rate it will be delayed forever. So they cannot have that energy to put in the grid, and then solar and wind come. Actually, they solve the problem. So it is not only about clean anymore. It is about the development of the country already. So I think that is the perfect storm. When you think about it, the rising demand, and also the solar, the price has been like maybe decreased by 50% for the last 3 years already. So that's a perfect storm.
So maybe just a follow-up question on that. If demand has been rising, I suppose that this demand is rising not only in Vietnam, but also in other places in the world, as well as the energy, the solar energy. If it's if the cost is decreasing significantly, I would expect so many startups, so many big corporations to jump right in and to start. But what do you think is the barrier for a startup company, or even a big corporation, or anyone, if they would want to jump in but they cannot? What would you say that the barrier is?
I think that's from my point of view. So I and my CEO, so my friend, we see this as a startup actually, but not a traditional startup, because we also have used a lot of capital, to be honest. Not a lot of people actually, and to be honest, not a lot of brain power actually. It's more like just do the job. But yeah, back to your question. I think there's a separate barrier for the small and medium-sized startup, and for big corporation. I think in previous question, I also discussed about the advantages and disadvantages for this foreign entity to join the market. And actually, in Vietnam currently, I think a lot of big corporations already joined the market. Like Vinh Group, for example, we invest hundreds of $1 million in this clean energy already. So in terms of attracting private capital, I think solar and wind in Vietnam are doing really, really good job. Not only private, but also foreign capital. But that's the barrier for the big corporation, and I think it has been lower a lot, in energy. But for startup, I think for medium size or some innovation, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe it would be the next wave. I think the main thing here, the main obstacle here is the human resources. Right now, all of what I classify as the good one in electricity, they're all now working for big corporation. So only a few of them have the capability in terms of both technical and also finance to start their own company. But I see some startup already. But yeah, I think at the moment the game is more on the capital side, which is good, and yeah, bad in a way. Like we need more innovation coming to this process actually.
All right. I guess then my final question would be, if this is a game about who can attract most capital initially and just start, really revitalizing and putting a lot of capital in to, upstart their business, then who do you think would be the best player to do this?
So are you talking about like startup, or you talk about like big corporation with investment and things
I was
like
like
that?
this. It was mostly. It could be any player. Is my um is what I'm thinking right now. But maybe you could give some other perspective. Maybe there's a reason why these like big corporations with a lot of capital can't jump right on in, and could be some other form of a startup who could even do a better play, and use this use this um, the whole market come.
Yeah, I think it is more like I think the big corporation, they will uh, focus more on the generation side, which is like you build a solar power plant, you build a wind power plant. I think the role, at least from my point of view, the role of the startup would be on the whole value chains. So there will be some people who will have a better solution for the panel, for example, or will have some can supply the equipment or material to increase all the software to increase the efficiency of running a power plant. So I think what I mean is that I think for the whole value chains, I think we need more startup to jump into the efficiency of the value chains. Right now, only big corporations jump into like the B2B market, meaning generates the energy and sell it to EVN and then sell it to the consumer and the industrial. But I think in terms of uh, produce the equipment and optimize everything, I think it will be the step two of the process, which I think I'm very much looking forward to that actually to happen.
All right, thank you very much, Vin. Any last words that you would like to give to our impact makers?
Um, I think thank you for everyone. To be honest, I joined a little bit unprepared actually. To be honest, just jump out of the meeting with EVN. But I do think that from my uh, at least from my experience, it has been uh, 4 years, very challenging uh, and if you look at it now, it will be like a different story. But I remember when I first met even with Alam 4 years ago, and I told her that yeah, we start something. And then, but at that time, there was nothing. My team is only me, but now we have more than like 100 people, 100 technical already. So I think my last word may be just believe that you have to make sure that you know that clean tech is the future, and the future is already here already. It is not, and I think fossil fuel is. I don't think it would ever go back. Actually, we are living in the future already. Uh, the question is how to make the future faster, and the job of the startup, like what I told you earlier, is to join that process as well. So to make it not only in the hands of the government or the corporation, but it is also the startup community, because I think a lot of this initiative actually is coming from the environmental impact, right? But over time, right, it now become very commercial already. It's viable already. So it is a time that we should, like really step in and then I do think that the future is very promising. So I wish you all, focusing on your work and then make it happen.
Thank you very much, Vinh.
Thank you.
I guess thank you so much. Feel free to contact Vinh via if you would like to. His email is in our chat. Also, Lam, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Right. Why don't we take a 10-minute break before our second session?
Sure.
Right at 6.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
yeah,
I'm sorry for that. Yes.
thank you a lot for
See you then.
joining us today. And
Thanks.
congratulations, because the last time as I met, as you mentioned, that only the team with you and some people, but right now it is a 100 people company. It is a big milestone. So I really want to say, the big congrats to all of the team. So yeah, I do believe that you can bring the team, to go far beyond expectation in the very near future.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Yeah.
Thank you. See you then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Goodbye.
We'll be back after a 10-minute break. See you all here.
Okay, hello. I think this is time for us to start the second seminar. Jimin, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll start right now, right? Do you
Hello,
think so?
Pham.
Or Hong. His name is Hong. Yeah, actually.
Hello, Hong.
Hi.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I do. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get you settled in.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks. It's good now.
I think so.
Yeah, good. Oh, hey, Pelum.
Okay. Yeah. Hi. So nice to see you again.
Yeah,
So
me too.
yeah, first of all, let me express our sincere thank for you to joining this seminar as a guest speaker under the topic entering the B2B market in Vietnam.
Oh,
So
pleasure.
as you may already know, that Impact Collective is a program for startups focusing on opportunities in Asia, and we invest in support and connect startups that are solving global challenges to accelerate the positive impact in the world. So to begin, can you introduce a little bit about yourself for all of your audiences here today?
Oh, yeah. Before I start, may I ask, like who else will answer, attends, enjoy the meeting today?
So actually, this can be live on the YouTube. So they're the participants is all here, but
Okay.
yeah, we broadcast live on
Okay.
YouTube and some other channels.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got it.
Mm,
Yeah. So,
mm.
hi everyone. So I'm Hùng. So I'm the CEO and founder of Base.vn, and we provide an enterprise platform. So basically, the people can go in our platform, and we have them to solve various problems in their daily operations, from for example, work management, human resource management, information management, and some growth solutions. Yeah, we founded in 2016, so in about 4 years, and we have right now 5,000 enterprise using the platform every day. And yeah, so basically we focus on SaaS, software as a service. And I also learned a little bit about Impact Collective, and I know that, well, many startups have very strong and very impactful missions in changing the world and make the environment become better and better. I'm very interested and very happy to join with you today.
Perfect. So as far as I know, that you are also a fellow at Stanford. So it is a great coincidence that our former guest speaker is also an alumni at Stanford.
Oh,
So yeah,
really?
it's really great to see both of you guys come back to Vietnam.
Okay.
Then why do you choose to come back to Vietnam and start a base instead
Okay.
of
So yeah.
stay at Silicon Valley?
Okay. So I think that's the perfect questions. Basically, I believe that every startup and every founder who try to do something is really about how to make the world to become a better place. So basically, we have to do a startup leader missions, and I think startups very hard. So it's not like you can do whatever you want or you just like. It has to be the missions of the whole life. Otherwise, it's very easy to get stuck in the middle. So so I think Stanford is basically a perfect fit, where you can learn a lot of things, meet so many great people, and also you just feel that every classmate, everyone that you meet in Stanford, they're just so passionate in making something. Uh, and I think like every city of the world, we have so many things that we can do. We can I think if we have some idea to bring something, to make something better for people, then probably that's the reason that everyone want to start a startup. Yeah, so yeah, I think, yeah, so previously, who did you talk to?
Mr. Nguyễn Vinh.
Okay, I think I know him. Yeah, I know him very well.
Okay, so and you guys both know each other, right?
Yes.
So according to what you have experienced, so what is the biggest challenges when entering the B2B market in Vietnam?
I think there's one problem that the startup like Base had to face at the beginning, is that the volume of the market seems to be so obscure, so it's not clear. Um, Even though we know that in the Silicon Valley, then software as a service is so popular and everyone talking about this. But 4 years ago, then SaaS is still very new, very very new in Vietnam, and people still do not believe that software can change the way that they work together, and it takes quite a lot of time and effort, and like even like we really need a very strong belief in what we are doing. Otherwise, it's hard to convince people that software is the future. So I think that's a common problem with most startup, especially startup who want to bring new solution that never existed in the past. Is that like you must have the convictions in the idea. That means you just strongly believe in something and you know that it can create more value for people. And basically, you have to ignore like other people's thinkings about what you should do, and just like stick to the mission. I think that's one of the most difficult things that I think most of have to face and has to get over.
Mm-hmm. So, because B2B is totally different from B2C, so what is the kind of the benchmark? Do you think that you can see that when you achieve that, it is like you get the product market fit? Is there any kind of benchmark?
I think there's there's some gap, some big gap in the market. So for example, in the global, then about 70% of companies they use some kind of software for the daily operations. So in Vietnam, for example, it's less than 5%. So you see, there's a big gap between 5 and 70%. It's a huge gap, and it's not just a gap, but it's also an opportunity, right? So because like software is really great, it's changed everything. It can help company to grow much faster and much easier, and they can like focus on more meaningful things instead of like the daily operation. So because we have a big gap like this, and we also have strong convictions in the idea that like software is going to be the future. We believe that in the future, in about like 3 or 4 years, and then everything has to be powered by software. Then there's no other choice. So that's a main reason, and so that's the key insights of the market. Even though I believe that 4 years ago, then SaaS still very new, and it's not something that even VCs want to buy in. It's something that like the things that is not trendy, because like this too busy thinking about B2Cs, which is very hot in Vietnam, as you know. Yeah, so basically we have to to think about how the future look like in about 5 or 6 years, and just stick to this.
Hmm. So for B2B, we know that the lifetime value is much bigger than B2C, but at the same time, the sales cycle is also much longer. So how can a small company and small startup can survive until they get to the break-even point?
Mm, I think, well, one of the most important things that I believe self has to take care of is the money. I remember one of the talks of Eric Smith when he teach at Stanford's Garrett School's business. He said that the first thing when I become the CEO of Google is to make sure that every money is real. Also, so that's deep. Like how could you know that the money is real? So for example, when you are like working on B2Cs, so everything's just like linked to merchandise value, right? So GMVs, which is like so vigorous, and it's so difficult to really understand. So what's the real money in the whole business model? So I think one of the most important and one of the biggest advantage of a B2C models is that every money is real. Like you get what you do for, like you get what you make. For example, like when the customer pay you $10, so that's means $10, and there's no one in the middle. So I think real money is important because like otherwise, for startup who have been so busy working on products in the market, probably they even don't have enough time and effort to care about the financials and all the like cost structural stuff, and it's very difficult for them. So for business like that, then because we know that money is real, then we can like stock up days by day. So for example, you can easily know that uh, how much. So the burn rate every month quite easily because like everything's just like the money that you get and the cost that you have to pay is just clear on the table. So because the money is real again, so it's always stick to like how could you attract the customer to use the product, and I believe that one of the most challenging parts of B2B is the time, is the numbers of like it's the number of months, probably years for you to actually build something meaningful and comprehensive enough for the customer to really use it and to who's ready to buy the product. It can like 6 years at minimum, for example. So it's not it's almost impossible to buy uh, uh, to to make something less than 6 months because most B2C products are going to be very complicated and you need to spend enough time for this. So that's why most of the times in B2B product there's always a very strong tech teams behind so that they can really just focus on the product at the beginning and before they can become a massive success. So I think one of the key things that and what's the most challenging thing about B2B is that like it takes a very long time to build something. But again, the money is real. And again, we can really focus on product size and nothing else.
Hmm. So, if there are three main things to name over the victory of our B2B business, what are key drivers? What are the three names
Okay,
according
good
to you?
question. So I can name this immediately. So the first
Okay.
thing is product, the second thing is product,
Okay.
and the last thing is product.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your very honest question. So the health of every business can be measured by some certain metrics. So what is the kind of metrics you use for the health of base?
I think okay. So it's a little bit like details about the business model. So for sure, every business had to maintain some kinds of like not star metrics so that you can really know what's going on. So I think and so like it's also changing over time. Like when you're small and you bigger and bigger and you like become a unicorn, I think it's sometimes become different. But anyway, at the moment, then first of all, we want to manage the stickiness of the customer so that they are used over the
The
money
active
use.
user,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Daily active over money active, which is also like very important and one of the key metric to estimate the stickiness of the customer. And again, the
Mm.
second thing is also the cash in revenues, just how much money you get every month. And the last thing is about the stickiness of the customer as a business, which is also the churn rate. So yeah, so that's the three most important thing for I think for most of the SaaS business.
I see. So when you started base 3 years before, so at that time, will you predict what kind of product roadmap will you be
Okay.
right now?
Okay, that's also a very good question. Actually, I think everyone thinks that like a startup has a very clear roadmap, but it turned out not to be true. Because like things change so fast every day. So we just know what we want to do as a host, like we want to bring that kind of product to people, but it ends up that like over time then the product becomes so complicated, so it takes a little bit longer to build the product. But again, it's not about the roadmap for the features normally as people think, but it's about the roadmap for the product. So at the beginning then, the first product that we build is called by e-hiring, an applicant tracking system for enterprise, uh, and um, and we want to make sure that as a startup, then we can build something so sophisticated and also comprehensive in solving the recruitment problem. This is non-trivial because like ATS is hard. It's very hard product to build. And you can name some big names in the market. For example, Workable, Greenhouse, we saw like they are both unicorns in the field. So we want to make something enough complexities and comprehensive to make sure that well, we can win over the market of as an incumbent player. But again, it's just for the starting point. Over time, this is the second package that we launched is work management. So we provide different work models with different products for enterprise. We have like basically work for task management by request, for approval management, by workflow cross-department management. So the second that's the second ways of the product. And the last one we just launched in about I think 2 months ago. We launched the Base.vn Plus. It's collections of many apps to help community to manage people and grow the people.
I see. So, according to your earlier discussion, that product is the key thing, right, to win over the customer and the market. So, but to build like the big platform and to build many products, especially for the SaaS, it is it is like it consumes a lot of IT resources. So in Vietnam, what can you use to attract the talent in terms of like the developers, the programmer, and those kind of people to jump to base?
uh, it's very tough. I think for most startups, then talent is so rare, right? So I think we have to be so patient. So just don't cannot expect that you can have the best people in the team immediately. So I think for the beginning, then everything's just by chance. Like someone just so love what we are doing, so they want to join. You just can ask people to join, right? Because like basically they have no ideas about what you are doing, and it's very hard to convince. And basically, I think so. In terms of business, it's called inbound. So you have to do inbound thing like to tell people in general. So that's the things that we want to do for people. So anyone who want to join, probably they have very strong connection to the idea. So I think to attract talent, then really for the beginning it's just by chance. And so that's why I think another thing is that you have to choose people so carefully. You cannot choose at random because the people at the beginning will somehow define the cultures, and sometimes it's hard for you to fix the mistake. Even okay, for sure you have to fix it. It's because it's by chance and you have no evidence to make sure everything's go right. So, but still, like I think it's just like take time to choose the best, the most fitted people. And on the other side, then I think wow, I think at the beginning, then the core team member has to be the one who can set it out, who can really build the first version and the functional versions of the product. You cannot expect or hire other people to get that thing done for you. If you do this by just a core founding team, it can take a little bit more time, but you have to make sure that well, even if you fail to get the best people in the team, you can still build something. That's the key. Anyway, over time, then when the company growing and you attract more funding and more resources, then you have more opportunity to get more people. But like it's just natural. And at the beginning, then just to make sure that well, as the most important member, the core team member, has to be the one who can basically construct the keys version of the product.
Hmm, I see. So back to the Vietnam B2B market. So is there any kind of intrinsic feature that is different from Vietnam to other market, that when other companies, when they jump to the Vietnam, they have to consider?
I personally don't like the ideas of like locals and domestic software. I think software has to be global by naturals. So so in Vietnam, then certainly there's some ties of industries, of software industries, that there's a lot of like domestic stuff in it. For example, accounting, right? So accounting, then every accounting system of every country is very different. So so sometimes you need to get into the very details insights of the market to build the software. Otherwise, it will not fit to the structures, the law structures, legal structures, and the accounting structures of the country. But again, for the ways that we make products in Bay, then most product is not, most products they're not based on any kinds of like domestic requirement or stuff or structures, because I think like we just want to make something like global for people, and if you stick to the domestic side, then probably at some time you can break, or you have to like to follow the system.
I mean that maybe you take my question wrong. I mean that
Okay.
when they want to jump to Vietnam market, what
Okay.
is like the biggest challenges or the barrier for them to consider?
Uh, so you mean B2B startup
Yeah,
in general?
yeah.
Okay.
Not really a startup, but any kind of company, even like a Microsoft or Slack or those kind
Okay.
of big guys. Yeah.
Okay, understand. So
Mm.
I think like everyone can face the same challenge. So first of all, first of all, everyone has to spend time to educate the market. Because like for example, for B2B, then people they not use any similar products before. So you have to spend time to educate people that what you are doing is new for people, but still is meaningful for the future, right? Just to make sure that you spend enough time for talking to people and for educating and for telling people that that's the future. And I think the second is that like the cost structures. A similar products in Silicon Valley, for example, it can be $10, but in Vietnam, for example, it could be like almost one or two. Otherwise, it's going to be too expensive for people to buy this, to buy in. And I think times for really tell people that it's the futures, and also the cost structure is one of the two challenging stuff that any company go to Vietnam have to face with. Um, and 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 uh, and I think from my experience, and then I think that for the first, so for the first one, then over time it can be like more easier. So when this more company try to educate the market, then it can become more easier, so people will know about SaaS. Like most people will know about SaaS, and other companies spend a lot of time educating. But I just I just believe that Vietnam market is still very open. Like we here in Vietnam, we also have to compete with many global brands, and we are totally fine. Like at the end of the day, then it's just always turn back to the product. So in Vietnam, for example, so in Bay, we have to compete with like Microsoft, Oracle's, like Zoho's and things on daily. So it's just fine. I think it's very fair for everyone.
Mm. Okay, so it turns out to be that the product is a key for everything, right?
Is the primitive thing. It's the most intrinsic thing. Like because like when you sell to enterprise, then basically you cannot just like saying the great thing. It's not just about like saying. It has to be the product, because people have to use the product. It's not like they listen to you. They have to like really use the product on a daily basis. And on a daily basis, there has to be like something that they love to you. Otherwise, it's not making sense.
Hmm. So can you share a little bit about your own experience when you boost the company just from the size of 10 people to a company like 300 people? So what is like the most memorable hurdles or troubles or yeah,
Okay.
those kind of.
Uh, I think like every day in a startup is also a trouble. So you just like cannot get over the trouble. So I think that's every is a good memory. So I have watching has been watching the team growing every day. So so seeing the people growing, I think that's the most memorable experience. Really, they grow so much, and I saw that people at our company when they grow compared to someone else who basically do not have enough challenge, enough like hard problem to solve every day. Then the people, but I just feel like they grow so fast. uh for the trouble thing, well, I think, you know, we have to face every day. um from like product market fit, like every time that we have to build a new product, especially when it's just launched, there's so many bugs there. It's just not it's not stable. So you have a big product to fix and you have a market to solve. So like it's just every day, and it's never stop. So but still, like over time, then you know that, wow, the product been getting better, and over time, then you can know some kind of pattern for you to work with the customer, and it's just about, like, again, it's learning. So you can learn a lot when you focus on the things that you so strongly love. And I. I think that is the same for every startup. Like challenge is every day, and it's just like be so welcome of the challenge and know that you have to getting better, otherwise you're not going to successful, and it's not doing a startup anymore. So that's why, like, we have to like keep yourself motivated and growing and learning every day.
Hmm. Hmm. I see. So personally, I still have a lot of question in terms of this sector, but other participants also want to ask you. So I will give speech to
Okay.
Miss Jimin. So she will handle the question from our audiences today. Yeah, please welcome Jimin.
Hello.
Hi.
So it was really nice hearing about your story from the lectures at Stanford to like your growth and so we do have some questions from our attendees. I also received some questions previously before the start of the seminar, so I have those, and I also have some personal questions for you. So
Okay. Yeah. My pleasure.
let's begin with Uniel's question. She asked, is there any special pattern you have witnessed in the B2B business, especially in Vietnam, compared to any other nearby Southeast Asian market or wider Asia Pacific?
Okay. So I think I will be very honest about my knowledge. I have no clear knowledge about the other market. Even though next year we are going to do global launch, but at the moment, then I think that I do not have strong insights about the other market, like outside of Vietnam. But I think I can share with you some of the misconceptions about me, like when I first do B2B market. So so it's just in Vietnam, but I believe that it could be true for any others. So first of all, the most I think uh, the most important, probably the most crazy misconceptions is that, like, people when they go on B2B, they always think that, well, B2B is about people, it's about networking, it's about you have to know about the people, about as a customer. Like you need networks, you need some way to like to talk to the big guy, especially the big company. And basically, it's not the game, because like you are a startup, right? So you cannot have enough resource. Like, how could you talk to the CEO of like 1,000 people company, right? It seems to be very difficult, right? And because of that, then people doing B2B, and they believe that, well, only the big guy, like obviously only the one who have strong connection with the government, with the officials, with the market in general, they can do B2B. And it turned out to be so wrong. Like it's not true. I think startup normally thinks that, wow, doing B2B require you to like not to be yourself, like to be like good business sense or things like this, but it's not true. What we learned so far is that, like, it's easy to talk to them. It's just honest, just clear about what you can do for them. and they're so welcome. Because why? Because like a business is not like an end user. End user is so emotional, right? They just want to buy something that they love in general. But for business, they've been they just so waiting for something that's great value for them. How to help them to become more efficient, how to help them to grow faster, how to help them to manage their people. It's just like about, you just have to be clear about the solution that you want to solve for them. Just be clear, and it's so easy to talk to anyone. So it's not the game that only the big guy, only the one who are so experienced business persons can do this. I think startup can do this so perfectly, and that's the one of the big misconceptions. Yeah. Is this answer the questions?
I think it does halfway. I had a question midway, just as a follow up. Do you think startups are the best players to do B2B businesses? Even if, I mean, you say that connections is not is not is not important, but that's but that's not. And it's coming from a guy who came from Stanford. The lesson of the day today was, oh, you need to go to Stanford to make those connections.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I get the idea, but I don't think that is true, because like I never thought anyone I'm coming from Stanford, so probably it's not true. but anyway, I think that like for startup, then you got to do something that is contrarians. Why contrarians? It's because like first the things that people believe that is a good chance, it's a good opportunity. It's something that's so trendy that startups should do. Then probably other startups can do this, and many startups can do this because it's so trendy, right? It's because like people see a big opportunity. For example, like 10 years ago, many startups doing, for example, social network, and then on-demand marketplace like Ubers and things like this. Because like it's so big chance in Silicon Valley, and everyone just love to do this. But the thing is that I just feel like startup who working on those kind of problem, they have a lot of advantage that as a startup will not have. And contrarians means that you have to do something that most people think is so difficult to do. Like you can learn something that goes, you can do this quite easily, when other people found that it's so hard to do. So this is going to be the best thing that you can do for a startup.
Message delivered. And so let's just move in straight to our next question then. Is there any preferable regions or cities in terms of B2B business in Vietnam? Because most of the international players often consider either Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, but not much know of other options. Would be good if you can, give us some insider wisdom.
Do you mean thinking about the condition in doing stuff in Vietnam, like in terms of locations?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that what you have only two choice. Because like it's not about you, it's also about the people and about the team. So for the team, then I think like most people just like stay in big city in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. You can do startup from Hanoi in Ho Chi Minh, and you can provide service for other people in other flat. But like this is just a good this is just like easy choice, because like I think it makes sense because you have more people, just more resource, and basically I think the condition is much better, right? So it's just better to do this.
So we have 81 impact maker teams for our Impact Collective main round. And of the 81 teams, 29 of them, they said they are interested in expanding in the Vietnam market. So for those 29 teams, would you also recommend just start with the two cities, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh?
I think to be honest, I'm not quite intend to give you advice for people, because I just think that you have to decide. But anyway, from my experience, then I think Hanoi Instrument is going to be more optimal. I just want to say the optimal, because like you can get more resource and easier to do a lot of things. Yeah.
And I think we have a very, very difficult question just on our chat. Where is better, Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City?
Okay. Well, I believe that it will depend also on the problems that you want to solve. But if you're coming from the outside, then I just feel like Ho Chi Minh could be better in some sense, because even the populations and the market in general is bigger than Hanoi, about it's probably about 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Well, I think that was a very good question and very realistic, because, you know, for the founders who are deciding, this would be a very, very important question, the first thing to ask before stepping in.
Yes.
Another question that we had is, what were your top 3 challenges when starting your B2B business in Vietnam? I'm sure you've had some questions like this before.
3 challenges. I think that, well, I think anyway, so a startup has to solve this one challenge at a time. So probably at one time, then we have only one challenge, because otherwise we cannot handle. A startup have no resource, good enough resource and time to handle so many things. So I think everyone, we have only one priority. So I want to see the good. I want to use the good priorities, because it's what I also do. So so when we first start a startup, then I think one of the most challenging things that we have to get over is how to make the first version of the product go to the market. So it's going to be very tough, because so when we start 4 years ago, then people will have no ideas about Base and what service, what kind of service or customer that we can serve. So basically, how could you make the first product with a very little resource? It's going to be very difficult. So you need to to really focus on 1 or 2 problems that I think you have to focus on this and try to make products that is competent, that is good enough for the customer. And again, the next and the most important, I think probably the most important parallels in startup is how could you get 10 customers. It's not about 100, it's not about 20, it's not about 1,000. I think it's 10 customers. 10 customers who really love you. It's going to be very tough. Because in every kind of service, then in the long run, then you can have many customers, but the one who helps you and who ready to buy as a service at the beginning is going to be very meaningful. So get the first 10 customers is so important, and I cannot stress enough how important it is, because you can learn a lot from them. So many things you can learn from the early customer, and I think after that, then it all comes to how passionate you are, and why I say that, because over time, then the startup will get a lot of very difficult thing you have to face every day. So whether or not the mission that you want and the problem that you want to solve is worth enough personally for you, you are ready to just devote the whole life to solve this. It's not going to be easy, because most startup founder things that, well, in 1 year, right, in 1 or 2 years, I can become very rich. I have so many money, I can become an investor. But it's not true. Okay, so you can have money. Okay, you can have all of this, but you can have many other things, responsibility and the team and the people and the investor and many things. Basically, it's not about 1 or 2 years. So at least 10 years, and 10 years at least. I think it's 20 years in general. So over time, then it's always a question that, well, is the problem that I want to solve at the moment worth me to devote my whole life? Okay, so that's going to be very hard. But the good thing, the good thing is that it's hard to answer this question for the outside, but it's easy to answer this question for the own. like if you ask you the question, you can answer. But someone asks you, then it's easy for you to say yes, I ready, but sometimes not.
Right, right. I can definitely although I didn't find a company myself, as an investor, I definitely understand where you're coming from, especially those first 10 customers and how important and so beneficial their feedback and learning. I think that is very, very important. And I think that's always something that our teams can also be reminded of. We have another question from Christian. When you talk about B2B, is it always only software services right now, just in contextual wise, or are there centers to help physical B2B products? Apparently they are more G2G, government to government, but still the connection building and credibility issue is nearly the same. So I think this is like a 3-part question. Could you answer it in breakdowns?
Yeah,
that would
okay.
be very helpful.
So I can try to answer part of the question. So first of all, yeah, because like our industry is in B2B software, and as I said, it's a software as a service. So it's actually cloud software. It's not like we use a customized software or we do like install software, but we do cloud software. So basically, people just like sign in and they can get accounts and to do everything. So in the context that I just told you, I just say about the story of Bay, it's just related to B2B software, cloud B2B software. But yes, there's so many other B2B segments, even for e-commerce, and so there's B2B too. So I think B2B is just about the concept that like business to business business model, and so there's a lot more opportunities. And I think my friends and Vinh, so he probably he discussed in the previous section. I think he answers the B2B market. He provides service answer for business too. And I think B2B is also again, I think it's real money. It's about how would you create value for enterprise, and they're ready to pay. So yeah, so I think it's just the same in terms of business model. It's real money. So in Vietnam, so B2G, and so I think many startups working on the fields, even many non-profit, and so working quite like 2Gs, which is also popular here in Vietnam. It's just like depend on the preference. Probably you just want to do B2B and no B2G, or vice versa. So it's just depend on what you want to do. But again, this and so different industry, and this is coexisted here in Vietnam. Yeah.
All right. I hope that answered your question. If not, you can always, post a follow-up question, and we will definitely take a look at that.
Okay.
I think it's my turn now. I had a question for you.
Okay. Yeah.
So I did some research about you before this session, and and one of the very interesting titles caught my eye, and I read that as you were among the first startup company to receive so much investment from foreign investors as a Vietnamese startup. I was just wondering, from an investor's point of view, or even from your point of view, do you think that foreign money coming into Vietnam and the startup industry, what do you think? Is it without the foreign capital flowing in, is it self-sustainable? What is the VC kind of status in Vietnam? How many players are funding players are in the different stages? Because if you're a startup trying to focus and go into the Vietnamese market, obviously our teams are also looking for partners, not just people who would put their money in and not be of any help, but even when they come to us in Korea, we are their partners, going from one round to another, helping their business, having that conversation with these guys. How is it in Vietnam? Do you, as one of the first Vietnamese companies to receive the biggest capital from foreign investors, what is your take on this?
Okay, so just to be clear, I think there's more and more fundings coming from the outside, from the foreign VC to Vietnam over the years, and it's going to be, I think it's just going to be better and better, because like I think until the economy is still growing, then there's more opportunities. But okay, so for the questions about the sustainability of startup, and so probably the relationship between startups and VC and funding, I so from my own perspective, one of the reasons that I want to start Base, because first of all, I think it's real money in the business model. Second of all, I just believe that we can create meaningful value for people. And so I think the last one is that, well, we can really make a sustainable business without even funding. Okay, funding at the beginning going to be very important. I think we grow so fast in the last 4 years. It's because like we get so much support from our investor. Again, at the moment we are profitable. So again, everyone who I talk to, the first question I answer said with the potential investor is that we want to make something. We want to make a company that is sustainable in the long term. So money probably. So most of the time you're going to raise fund is going to be very clear with the result, with the expectation. For example, in the last round, what we want to raise is the main mission, the main goal for us to raise the round is we want to be at least the leading positions on like the top position of SaaS in Vietnam, and we do this. And for the next round, probably want to do something outside Vietnam, and it's always come with a clear results. But at the end, it's always end with a very sustainable business. So I oppose with the idea of startups just raising fund for growth, and they are not trying to make something sustainable, because I don't think that a business can grow and can attract talent and can become something big without a very sustainable business model. It's not going to work when you're just burning money. I oppose this idea. Even I know that was this as a startup who are so very successful in like spending a lot of money at the beginning, but at some point in the future, they have to be profitable. Otherwise, it's not making any sense in terms of business. Um, in terms of like the potentials for outside company to go in Vietnam and partner here, I think in Vietnam, then from at least from my own experience, then I think we are very welcome. Especially like I think even in terms of products, then Vietnamese people are so love products provided by foreign providers. So I think we are very welcome, and even a partnership like this, it's a win-win for both sides. I think it's also a win-win for the Vietnamese side too. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for that insight.
Thank you.
All right. So due to a slight lag of the transmission to YouTube, let me just go on and see if we have some questions here.
Okay.
If not, I would like to just ask you to give our teams, the Impact Maker teams, some last words before we say bye.
Okay. So when Petlem sent me about very short descriptions about Impact Collective, then I think so was the first thing I feel that I'm so admire you. So people who really want to bring more value for the world, and especially you are doing something I think very difficult. You have the passion to do something very difficult and making impact. I think that is so like so respected. I'm very honest because like I think for me then one of the reasons that I want to start Base is also from the mission that I want to bring more value for people. But like what we do is we are trying to solve the problem that everyone know. Like most company have the same problems like for 100 years. They just face the same problem. But for many problems that you solve, I think it's very new, and it's going to be something could be the problems about centuries. So many things will happen, and the person of every startup in the program. I think it's so impressive. And I just want to say, so best of luck. Like startups going to be very long, especially if you want to make something sustainable. So that has a courage, and I hope and so that they're going to get more support from VC, from someone who probably win prefers changing the world more than just like a short win, a quick win. So yeah, so I just like hope the best for them, and wish them the best in the long run. It's going to be like 10 years, so it's just the beginning. So yeah.
Thank you very much for your time and for your words. I think it was a very, very insightful time. We got to explore Vietnam with you. And now let us all check off. Lam?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. If there is no further, do you have any announcements? Nothing?
I think so. We have 43 minutes discussion sharing. So I think we hear a lot about the B2B market in Vietnam, and of course many people are still watching, even not live, but they can watch after that. And if we receive any kind of question related to the B2B market, then we will just follow to to ask. Yeah.
That's right.
So thank you again for joining us today, and thank you for your kind words as well. Then hope that we have a chance to collaborate more in the near future. Sure.
Yeah, if you have time, impact collective. If you have time and start up in the portfolio, have the time to come to Vietnam, then yeah, we are very welcome to have you and house you in our office. We are very happy to do so.
Sure. Thank you for your kindness.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Sign off. Have a happy Friday.